Hello and welcome back to another gameplay review on Permaglitch Gaming. Instead of covering an indie game, I, FallenJoran, will be covering Ragnarok Games and Studio 369's open-world Viking RPG, Rune II Decapitation Edition, which was given to us by Ragnarok Game via Keymailer. Now, you might be wondering a couple of things that I've questioned, like, wait, there was a Rune 1, and what's with this Decapitation Edition for Rune 2's title? Since I've pondered, I had this sudden urge to research all that I can about this Rune franchise, only to leave me amazed that this game has survived at this point. So sit down, folks, because this is gonna be a bizarre tale of deceit. Rune II Decapitation Edition takes place in Midgard, where the evil trickster god Loki has returned to bring about Ragnarok, the end of the world. Revived by Heimdall, watcher of the Viking gods, you are deemed the chosen one to end Loki once and for all. You will be traveling across Midgard to aid key Viking villages to recruit Thor, Odin, and Hel to gain their godly powers in crushing, smashing, and slaying all the forces of Loki into bloody chunks.
Yeah, I thought I would have been dead sooner too, but you know what, Oh god, there you are!
Now let's get this out of the way. Even though the combat is clunky and runs like a PS2 game on low settings, which I do apologize for my PC not running on high settings, the game does offer the mindless hack and slash battles with a ton of loot to gain to fit your overall playstyle. During the 20th Shower main campaign, I ran with Thor as my god of choice to release lightning balls and launching enemies off their feet via smashing the very earth. Most weapons aren't that great to wield, but running with my Thor playstyle, hammers and maces are satisfying to wield and do a lot of damage. There's also a simple crafting system to make new weapons, armor, and buildings by cutting down trees and rocks for resources. Each level up and finding lore runes grants players recipes to forge new equipment, but you can also find loot via good old-fashioned combat. There are multiplayer modes for co-op and a beta for PvP, but I stuck with the single-player mode because I'm that kind of gamer. Though combat is the main focus of the game, everything else wasn't well designed or performed. The story feels like a rehash of the first game, and the majority of quests and side quests are just go kill this thing for me for experience points, with some delivery quests and crafting quests. Though having some enemy variety, they're mostly humanoid beings and some wildlife that either act dumb or present a challenge when fighting a horde. The world is bigger than originally designed, but it's mostly filled with trees and more enemies to kill, with little depth in making it worth exploring. The controls feel awkward, with buttons not working sometimes on controllers and on mouse and keyboard, like running faster not working half the time and jumping and dodging having the same button all the time, especially when the game has two platforming sections that are just super annoying to go through. Even the audio is mixed, with the music playing the same track the majority of the time and the voiceover being cringy. There are some professional voiceover artists in this that play the part of their characters quite well, but most of the other artists in my research were streamers that voice acted for the first time. Look, as a content creator that wants to be part of the video game industry in any way I can, I give respect to the voiceover artists that have worked on the game, but there can be some room for improvement for their acting.
Taking on the great deceiver. Now it's time for him to pay. Time for you to slay your prey, 'cause your victory is a lock. It's time to end Ragnarok!
Despite the game's description on Steam and Epic Games Store being shameless in knowing what its flaws are, I feel that's a ploy in hiding the metaphorical human heads that rolled out of this situation. Oh my god, I'm sorry for that awful joke. Yes, I should mention that the former video game development company, Human Head Studios, which is well known for the original Prey game and for their infamous game, The Quiet Man, was the original developer of the Rune franchise. Since Rune was released in 2000, Human Head always had ideas for a Rune sequel, but never got around with the project until 2017, when the game was announced and in full production. With negotiations with an unnamed publisher in the mid-2000s, a few name changes, and a temporary exclusivity deal with the Epic Games Store, this game sounded like it would have had all the time and money to be completed for gamers to enjoy, but however, that wasn't the case at all. After being delayed from mid-2019 to releasing on November 12, 2019 under publisher Ragnarok Game, Rune II was released in a very broken state that no effort was made to fix the numerous bugs during the game's supposed testing. What's weird is that the day after the game's release, Human had abruptly closed its doors and all the staff moved over to Bethesda become Roundhouse Studios without anybody knowing about it. The sudden abandonment of Rune II shocked Ragnarok, which had to scramble a team of developers that would continue supporting Rune II's post-launch development, which became known as Studio 369. However, the newly Roundhouse developers not only broke their contract to work on Rune II after launch because of supposed financial troubles, they took the game's final code and assets from Ragnarok until the former developers had their milestone payments. This prompted Ragnarok to file a lawsuit against the former Human Head developers for a whopping $100 million for fraud and shady business practices. The now Roundhouse developers eventually gave back the code and assets back in January 2020, but Ragnarok is adamant with the lawsuit against Roundhouse and, as of October 2020, against owners Bethesda and ZeniMax on the grounds of fraud and intentional sabotage of two games, which was Rune II and another unknown game called Oblivion Song, that could have competed with the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. This is an ongoing legal battle, so all judgment is to be put aside until it is all said and done. In conclusion, despite the many issues and legal complications, it's a miracle that Rune II Decapitation Edition exists at all. The odds did not stop Ragnarok Game and Studio 369 in supporting this passion project, which deserves the utmost respect from me. Let me put my experience with the game this way. Rune II is a mindless RPG that offers bloody meat chunks of fun. With the game already making numerous improvements such as key and button mapping and having free content as a thank you for fans playing the game, I'm excited for what Ragnarok and Studio 369 have in store for Rune II and beyond. Rune II Decapitation Edition is available now for PC via Steam and Epic Games Store, so I recommend checking this game out. Thank you Ragnarok Game for the Steam key, and thank you all for watching this video. Have a good one now.